Like you might, if I ask you what percentage of men are incels, you'll probably say like, 10%, 5%, 20%, something like that, right? Technically, 90% of men are incels. I will say this again, 90% of men are incels.
Does he think that 90% of men aren't having sex?
Because 90% of men aren't having sex, aren't dating. And out of that 90%, bro, there's not that many who are voluntarily doing that. Of these 90% of men, no matter if they're on monk mode or semen retention, bro, you probably...
I feel like I need at least one... I feel like I need one source of that.
If you get less than 10 matches a day on Tinder, which is more than 90% of men, then you're probably an incel. That's actually...
Less than 10 matches a day on Tinder? Look, 10 a day on Tinder, my bro? Dude, if you're a guy and you're getting 5 matches a day on Tinder, you're fucking crushing it. What are you talking about? Holy shit.
Actually f***ed how many guys are in this group, and so there may be some kind of incel uprising.
Red pill video on why men are lonely.
Jeffrey's done everything right, so why isn't it working? He went to school and he studied as best as he could. When he'd speak to girls, he was as nice as he possibly could be, and they just never seemed interested in him. Year by year by year, Jeffrey is just sick of these rejections. Soon enough, he doesn't even want to try anymore. He finds comfort in the internet and online communities and dirty websites. And then he sinks deeper and deeper into the hole of loneliness. If we zoom out, more than 90% of the entire world are like Jeffrey. What are the 10% like? Adonis. Adonis is part of the 10% of men, but that does not mean that he is an asshole. In fact, Adonis is the most kind, the most generous, the most supportive tribe leader that they could be. He wants his men to grow alongside him, to experience all of the happy, beautiful moments that he's experienced being in this top position of men. Adonis isn't lonely, but he can emphasize with the men that are. When I started this journey of entrepreneurship and self-improvement, I moved away from the city that I was living in, and I moved back to my parents' house. I moved back in the COVID lockdown, and I was deeply lonely. I was literally all by myself. I had my family, but I wasn't so close to them. I didn't speak to any of my old friends. Honestly, I tried to. I really tried to like message them and stuff, and they kind of ignored me and stuff. And I literally just started to just navigate life by myself, trying to build a business, trying to, grow this YouTube channel. And I'd go on walks every single day, literally just hoping to like bump into someone that I could talk to. And I was like practicing approaching guys and stuff. I remember recording a private personal video, just kind of like almost like a vlog that I could watch back of how things were. And in this 12-minute video, I ended up just repeatedly saying of how lonely I was, that the social and sexual sides of my life were totally just lacking. I had no male friends. I wasn't meeting any girls. I didn't have any level of intimacy. For around 4-5 months, I spoke to no one. I had no friends. It was deeply, deeply lonely. 90% of men are lonely, and we're gonna figure out what the consequences of this are. But first, we need to actually figure out and discuss why are so many men so lonely. There's 2 major reasons. One is about male safe spaces and our ability to make male friends, and the other is about the dating market and how fucked it is to try and date and cultivate love and relationships and to build a family in this modern day. So we'll talk about that first. There is a current dynamic that you probably are aware of, which is that the majority of women are getting fucked by the same few top tier guys. I don't mean to be vulgar by saying that word fucked, but that's exactly what's happening. The top tier guys, the guys in the top 10% of men, the wealthy guys who are in shape, who are very confident, and who have this masculine, stoic personality which is so attractive to women. These top tier guys, just a handful out of hundreds or thousands of guys, they're sleeping with most girls. And you might think that this is a bit too far, right? No, there's real data to prove that the top 20% of men are attracting 80% of women. I'll say that again. The top 20% of men are attracting 80% of women. There's a very exponential return based on the level of man that you are. The majority of men get...
Wait, is he gonna... Hold on. He went from fucking to being attracted to. Was that change in terminology intentional? What is the data? I feel like it always goes back to that one like OkCupid study from 1997 or whatever.
Literally zero attention, attraction from women. There's been studies done on dating apps like Tinder, Bumble, which have shown that the majority of women actually left swipe almost every guy, but the guy that they do right swipe on is pretty much the same for so many girls. So essentially this is the dynamic of the one guy fucking 10 girls who all know each other. The consequence of...
Just because somebody swipes them doesn't necessarily mean they're fucking them too, right? I feel like you need a little bit more data to show that, but...
This becomes even more understandable when you start to look at how our modern society has opened up sex for both men and women, and especially for women. Like, women are way more forward with having sex these days than they would have 100, 200 years ago. Why? First of all, it's like these social standards. It's not only okay for a woman to sleep around these days, it's a little bit encouraged. If you look at all of the media,
Destiny, stop coping. You're coping. I just made a super neutral statement that you need data to support the claims, and you're already crying, okay? You are never going to put your dick inside another human being no matter what you do or what video you watch. Get banned, okay? If you're already this emotional, if you're already this feminine, if you're already this much of a little crybaby bitch that you can't even handle me making a really basic statement saying that you kind of need data to support that claim, then you're too feminine to ever fuck a woman anyway, okay? Go find a boyfriend. Fuck you, you fucking loser. Peace. See ya. 3 perma bans. Boom, boom, boom. Triple kill right off the bat.
If you look at these music videos of these, you know, these like idols, these rap stars, these like female rappers, fucking Megan Thee Stallion, fucking disgusting ass woman, bro. You see these women who are promoting this sex culture, this culture of telling little girls, 10-year-old girls, like, yeah, I just f***ed my drug dealer. Yeah, it was so awesome. You see on TikTok of these girls just casually saying, like, oh yeah, I just 3 guys yesterday and like I'm really lonely still. And so society's made it trendy for a girl to sleep around these days. Now couple that with the fact that there's no longer this constraint, this restriction on women's sexuality that came from our faith in God when everyone was religious. It was this idea that you couldn't have sex out.
I also don't like this he's doing the thing again. Maybe he'll specify later, mixing the like sex and relationships are 2 different things too, right? Like
outside of marriage, and especially for women, because there was more consequences to that. Women are certainly more vulnerable to the consequences of casual sex that can impact like your soul and your ability to fall into love and, you know, really respect the person that you end up marrying. Then with the sex revolution that started, I think in the 60s, the 1960s, there was the birth of the contraceptive pill, and suddenly women now had the possibility of having casual sex without the risk of pregnancy, and so many women hopped onto the pill. And what that meant now is not that many consequences for a woman sleeping around. There is very severe consequences for the long term, but most people don't think long term. Most people only ever think short term. And in the short term, she can't get pregnant because she's on the pill. Her friends are not going to ostracize her, but they're going to promote her, tap her on the back. You go, girl, you f***ed last night. Whoa, awesome. Her mother, who usually would have been like this role model, her mother's probably a slut. Her father, probably not in the home. And so
okay, so this is another guy that got shot down by some woman, and now like the entirety of his content is going to be based around his trauma of getting rejected at some point and getting revenge on all the slut women in his life. This is what all red pill content is. I don't know how you guys can fucking watch this fucking garbage for like months and months and years of like, Jesus, like, do you not feel like a little disgusted with yourself at some point? Like, oh, another guy that's going to tell me about how all women are sluts and men are just like the victim of everything, and like it's actually like the most self-serving, like self-victimization, like pathetic shit in the fucking world. I don't understand you can watch shit like this and then complain about like the feminization of men or like the destruction of male masculinity. Like, yeah, it's right here. Like, Jesus Christ.
So this sounds sexist because I'm only talking about women, but this is very important because the issue is that women are allowed to sleep around with no problems whatsoever attached to that. Well, then who do you think women are going to sleep with? If women in general are allowed to fuck, they're of course going to choose the best man to fuck, right? It's common sense. It's like, if she's allowed to have sex, so she may as well pick the best guy for that. Who's the best guy? Well, it's the same guy that every girl's sleeping with. It's the top tier guys. It's the best guy that she could get. And so women can now afford to be way more selective. Before, 100 years ago, if you were like not disgusting and you had a good job and you had good morals and values as a man, you'd get married. Like, you would literally be married with children at this age right now. If you're like 20 years old, you would have had children at this age because you just had a good job and you were like a strong, hard-working man. That was what was needed to marry a woman and to provide and to like, live this happy life of having a family. But now that's not enough, because now she may as well left swipe on every guy who is underneath 6 foot. She may as well left swipe on every guy who isn't making at least 100k a year. She may as well left swipe on every guy who isn't a 7 or an 8 or a 9 out of 10. Because why should she give you this pity right swipe? Why should she invest into you, a guy who's not anywhere near as good as the next guy that she could swipe right on Tinder? So of course she may as well go for the best guy that's out there. But then that best guy is sleeping with a lot of girls, which means that there's an uneven distribution of love, sex, and intimacy. A lot of girls are going with this top tier guy, which means all these guys down here are being left with nothing. Now, this has always been the case. This is true. This has always been the case. In Islam, you're allowed to have 4 wives in certain circumstances. And previously, strong, very wealthy, powerful men had harems, like literally hundreds, thousands of women that they used to sleep with. That's true. There's men out there who have slept with thousands, tens of thousands of women, literally. I mean, there's men alive today who have slept with tens of thousands of women. There are men out there who have fucked tens of thousands of women. And then there's you. Your heartbeat goes faster when you think about holding hands with a girl. When she replies to your text with a one-word answer, you're still so excited. When you think about how different these experiences of men are, you start to realize like some guys are getting way more than what's fair. But then obviously this is an issue because is it unfair because that guy technically is better? Should women not go with the guy who they think can give them, the most sort of alpha Chad genes? It sucks for the lonely guys, but like, should a woman not go for the best guy that she can get? Maybe she should.
Alpha Chad genes? Wait, so is he talking about having children and families, or is he just talking about fucking?
Should. But previously, with the control of religion and the lack of the internet, the best guy she could get was probably you. Honestly, like, you went to the same church or mosque as her, and you were a hardworking young man, and you were slightly better than the other guy, but then she would have married you. But now it's like, why the would she choose you from her church? One, she doesn't go to church. Two, her dad's not even around anyway, so it's like, yeah, she may as well around.
Nice, yeah, I can't hit those stereotypes, dude.
Three, bro, the best guy she can get now is like some prince in Dubai, some millionaire.
Keep in mind that earlier he dressed it up like really fancily, but he actually agreed with my point 100% earlier, and that is like, well, back in the day, all you really needed was a job because women weren't allowed to work, and then they would be guaranteed to be with you. And now that you have to actually work for relationships, it's actually a little bit harder. Like that was essentially what he said earlier. He dressed it up in very colorful, pretty language, but
some billionaire, some tens of centimillionaire who's flying her out to Dubai and just her and then sending her back. You can barely afford to get her an Uber to come to meet you.
How often is it that some girl's being flown out to Dubai to be fucked? Like, I think that there are red pillars in my YouTube chat that actually think it's like, oh, probably not that high. Probably like 35% of women are getting flown around the world to get fucked. Like, there are people in my chat right now that think that. Like, oh, I'd say probably like 50% of women could start an OnlyFans and make $100,000 a year. Like there are people in my YouTube chat that think that right now.
And some guy can fly a business class to Dubai, no problem. Now the dating market has been totally open and even encouraged for women to, indulge and to sleep around. This means that the majority of guys are not getting any attraction from women. That's going to drastically increase how lonely a lot of guys are. And then when you think about, this isn't shallow. It might seem shallow right now, like, oh yeah, so many guys aren't getting sex, but it's like, that's deeply important. That's a fundamental psychological need. And then when you think about what sex actually is...
Wait, what's that?
A lot of guys are. And then when you think about, this isn't shallow. It might seem shallow right now, like, oh yeah, so many guys aren't getting sex, but it's like, that's deep.
Maslow's hierarchy of needs? He threw sex in here in the bottom part? My dude, you added this word here. Maslow's hierarchy of needs has to do with what is like the fundamental thing you need to fucking survive. Physiological, breathing, yes. Food, water, sleep. Homeostasis, I don't know why that's here. Excretion, I don't know why that's here. Sex does not belong here, my dude. Are you serious? Bruv.
Deeply important. That's a fundamental psychological need. And then when you think about what sex actually is supposed to lead to, which is family, and that's like, the best, biggest permanent cure of loneliness. Well, then most guys aren't having that.
Look up in the original. I don't know if sex is included in the original, but it would probably be under the third part, I think, is past safety. Yeah, belonging and love. It's probably going to be in this third part here, would be my guess. Belonging and love. Intimate relationships and friends. These are your psychological needs. Your basic needs do not include sex. This is like if you don't have this shit, you fucking die. That's why it's a basic fundamental need, right? If you don't have food and water, warmth and rest, you're gonna die from hunger or exposure. If you're not safe, you're gonna get eaten by a fucking animal or ran over by a car or you die or something, right?
Most people aren't even family, and that's like, the best, biggest permanent cure of loneliness. Well, then most guys aren't having that. Most people aren't even having families these days. People are having families at like age 30 later. And then the second reason why men are so lonely these days is that we don't have male spaces anymore. Do you know something sexist, misogynist, hateful?
Isn't like half the internet like a male space, to be fair? Like,
that I just did recently. I told the moderators in my server, so we have a Discord server that's linked in the description. I'm not trying to plug it to you, but there's a big server there of 100 and something thousand young people, right? Young men, mostly young men. I think there's 97% male people who are in this big Discord server that we have, that I'm the owner, and maybe like 3% women, right? It's the same as our YouTube analytics, right? The moderators started talking about introducing a role for the women who were a part of our server. And I did something totally sexist, right? Which so many people could hate me for. I made a message for all the moderators and said, no, we will never ever produce an update on this server for women. Our focus will be 100% dedicated to the men. You've probably never heard someone speak like that before, where I openly will look you in the face and say, no, I'm not helping women. This channel is not for women. It will never be for women. You know how much more success I could have personally built if I made this like unisexual, this open sort of self-improvement channel for both men and women. You know how much more fucking success and subscribers and views I could have had. Something that I am so fucking strongly opinionated about is having core masculine male only spaces, because we so deeply need that now. Women women can come and watch our videos. And that's fine. Women can watch our videos. That's absolutely fine. They can comment, fine. But this channel's not for them. It will never be for them, and I will not make videos for them. My Discord server is not for them. They can join and they can enjoy it and, you know, get value from it. Okay, awesome. But I'm never gonna make updates for women. That's seen as so sexist these days. It's seen as so like, oh, that's a barbaric. Oh, you've got to open, you know, you've got to have these open, inviting spaces for all kinds of people.
I don't think that's seen as, I don't think anybody cares. Who the fuck are these people talking to? Who's getting mad if you make a channel? Oh, there's a channel that's about advice for men. Who the fuck is getting mad at this? Who cares?
People, shut the fuck up. Because you want to know the second reason why men are so lonely? Every kind of male space has been destroyed. What rites of passage are men going through these days? Hundreds of years ago, men were going through a rite of passage. The elders, like the older males, would put a young man, like a teenage boy, through this rite of passage, something hard work, like you know, working on the farm or some dangerous activity. And then his father and his brothers and his uncles would be stood there looking at this young man and saying, you're a man now. Imagine how you would feel if you went through that. Imagine if like men who you respected put you through something difficult and there was only men around. And then,
do you think men's safe spaces is valid or no? Yeah, everybody should have some kind of safe space to rant or complain or whatever. I think that's fine.
like some man that you truly respected put his hand on your shoulder and said your name and said you're a man now. What I've just described is seen as toxic in this modern day. I'm toxic. I'm so fucking toxic because that's exactly what I want to do for young men now. If that's toxic, then I'm toxic as fuck. One of my like long-term goals is I want to move somewhere very like safe so I can organize this in a safe way and buy out like this big fucking like space, this compound, you know, acres of land, and set up some like quite dangerous and challenging activities and invite for free a select number of my audience, you know, every year there's like 15 guys, and put them through a rite of passage right in front of me where I will like make you do some hard shit right in front of me, something that like is dangerous, and if you survive, if you get to the end of it, I will personally look at you and say that you're a man now, because we don't have these rites of passages anymore. Not only do we not just have, you know, this significant event that turns us into a man, we don't have any male spaces at all. This new inclusion, you know, this what's that word, inclusive sort of era where like when
I don't know how I don't know if I really want to get into this. Hey, I hate all of this. I don't want to talk about any of this today. It bothers me that he wants to talk so much about like becoming a man and all that shit. And then he's talking about rites of passages for becoming a man. But his concept of a rite of passage is like, is so stupid. I don't even know if he knows what they are or what they're for. Typically a rite of passage, especially one where you're becoming an adult, is not like you do an obstacle course and then you come out the other end and now you're an adult. It's fucking stupid. That's not an, that's an obstacle course, okay? That's like American Ninja. Traditionally, a rite of passage is usually, it's something that you have to spend some months of your life preparing for, and the preparation from that is supposed to show growth from child to adult. I don't know, Jewish people do, is it the bar mitzvah? Is that the one where you make your rite of passage into adulthood? I'm pretty sure you've got to study how to do the Torah for some shit. I'm sure there are other fucking life lessons that go on with that. I know in Catholicism, we did confirmation, where you pick like a saint and you follow their life, and you're supposed to draw parallels and learn and grow and blah, blah, blah. I know that I've seen like some native tribes do like these kind of rites of passage, but it's not just an obstacle course. It's usually you've had like a mentor or a tutor or a trainer or somebody you've looked up to that's guiding you for months or maybe a year or more at a time, where you're supposed to do things, and these are supposed to be like a rite of passage into adulthood. But it's not just like a one-off event. There's a whole, like the one-off event is almost the least important part of it. Like it's like the ceremony or the signaling of like, okay, you've done this or whatever. But there's supposed to be like a whole bunch of shit leading up to it. Maybe I'm just being like nitpicky or whatever, but like this feels like so stupid. It's like such a hollow understanding of like a rite of passage, but maybe, I don't know, maybe he knows all this and he just neglected to mention any of it. I don't know.
We're not allowed to just have like a boys club anymore. You know, the Boy Scouts in America allow girls in there. You know, male sport teams are getting pressured to allow women in them because, well, you can't just have a space with just guys. That's toxic.
Is that true? Is this happening anywhere? Can't women join any sports team with men if they want anyway, if they try out for it? Does this happen right now in the US or in England maybe? I don't know.
So what was once this core, strong group, multiple groups all around the world, that was just full of men actually being men together with a sense of competition and our male masculine values, it's being destroyed and took away from us. Bro, this shit pisses me off, honestly. Do you know how many female homeless shelters there are? Lots and lots and lots. It's actually becoming like an issue in America where a lot of male homeless shelters are getting essentially like destroyed because they're being pressured to let women in, and eventually once you let women into like this homeless shelter, kind of have to like change the rules and change the sort of structure that eventually what was once a homeless shelter for both men and women eventually has to become just for women, because then there's like an issue of like putting quite like homeless, dangerous, drug addict kind of like people all together. There's actually a lot of like these sad accounts of a bunch of homeless guys who can't even find any kind of shelter to go to because they're not women. Imagine being homeless, bro. Imagine being literally hungry, going up to like a homeless shelter that should technically allow you in. They've got a free space, a free room right there, which is warm, and you're literally fucking like cold. You've got cold shivers. You smell.
Is this true? I don't know. I feel like when I put together like videos and stuff on this, or when I do like my manifestos, I feel like I need a source for so many of these things. It's crazy to me how confident people will make like a 25-minute video and not source a single fucking claim. But I mean, I guess it makes the video a lot easier.
You feel horrible. There's a free room right there with a shower, with a toothbrush and there's a free room right there, and they look you in the eyes and say, you've got to be a woman. And then imagine you need to go sleep on the street, because this is what's happening. Male spaces are being destroyed because they think that we're toxic. They think that we're hateful, hurtful people for this. They think that we hate women. They don't even realize like how much we actually respect and admire and even slightly worship women. They don't realize we're watching videos like this, discussing male loneliness, because we just want love and a relationship in our lives. So there's those two major reasons why 90% of...
If you just want love and relationships, and why is it, why doesn't he say, why weren't we focusing on love and relationships earlier? Why was it just about how many women are fucking how many men? Why was it about how many men are fucking how many women? Why didn't we have any talk about relationships earlier?
Men are lonely. The dating market is all messed up, and the majority of guys aren't getting any attraction from girls. Girls aren't replying to some guy who's not a top tier man. And then also male spaces are just being destroyed. So not only are we not dating and having love and sex and families, we don't even have brothers to be friends with and to grow with anymore. And so what are the consequences of so many men being lonely? There's quite a few. One of them that comes to mind is the Incel Uprising. So Incel is this derogatory term for a man who essentially can't have sex. Like, he's not a top tier man. So, which is honestly, like, if I ask you what percentage of men are incels, you'd probably say like 10%, 5%, 20%, something like that, right? Technically 90% of men are incels. I will say this again, 90% of men are incels.
Does he think that 90% of men aren't having sex?
Because 90% of men aren't having sex, aren't dating, and out of that 90%, bro, there's not that many who are voluntarily doing that. Of these 90% of men, no matter if they're on monk mode or semen retention, bro, I
feel like I need at least one. I feel like I need one source of that. Just one source, maybe?
A hot girl in front of them, they'd love to fall in love with her. They'd love that she fell. Of course they would, right? I think a lot of like this monk mode semen retention is quite cope for a lot of guys. The Sigma male grinds that like, oh yeah, girls are just stupid, I don't need girls. A lot of it's just cope from just incels. The thing is, 90% of men are incels. You watching this right now are technically an incel. It doesn't seem like you actually are, because incel seems this like scary word of like these dark, like dangerous people. But the definition of incel means involuntarily celibate. That means that they are celibate, like they're not having sex, involuntarily, which means like not by their own wishes. There's a lot of guys in this bottom 90% of incels who act like it is voluntarily. They act like, I don't care about getting girls. It's a cope. 90% of men are incels. To be an incel, you don't need to be like these ones that get put on the news when, they've like shot up some school or something like that, because that's more of like a terrorist. That's more of like, this dangerous criminal, killer, murderer, right? An incel simply is by definition just a guy who can't get laid, a guy who can't have sex with girls right now, a guy who's not getting attention from girls. If you get less than 10 matches a day on Tinder, which is more than 90% of men, then you're probably an incel. That's actually...
Less than 10 matches a day on Tinder? 10 a day on Tinder, my bro? Dude, if you're a guy and you're getting 5 matches a day on Tinder, you're fucking crushing it. What are you talking about? Holy shit.
Actually fucked how many guys are in this group. And so there may be some kind of incel uprising, which is an uprising of the 90% of men who no longer have this fundamental need of sex, love, intimacy, and family checked off. And so we may see a lot of more like dangerous criminal murderer incel attacks. We may see more incel attacks where, you know, someone's...
How many matches do you get? I get a lot, but there's like a weird game on Tinder that I don't know how. I think that what happens with Tinder is that I won't use it for a long time, but then a thing will pop up and it'll say, hey, your Tinder is going to expire if you don't use it, or your Tinder hasn't been used in a long time, blah, blah, blah. And then when you open it and then you swipe, I think that it like ultra boosts your shit. Because if I do it the first day, I'm like, oh, f it, let's swipe or whatever, I'll get like 10 or 50 matches. But then the next day I'll get like 0. I feel like whenever you're idle for a long time on Tinder, if you come back to it and then you swipe, I think it like super ultra boosts. I think they do that to try to like keep you hooked in or whatever. But then afterwards, like you fall the fuck off. They've got like they game that the matching shit like super hardcore.
Like shooting up and being violent and hurting other people. We may also see so many of this group of men start killing themselves. Now, suicide is already so common in men. It's so common. To think that it's like a female problem pisses me.
Were you in a bad mood yesterday? Is this part of your new less charitable arc? I hoped you would blue pill Francis, but you didn't seem interested in the conversation. I don't know if you're not watching my conversations or if you just saw like a meme and chatty room. What do you mean? I was super plugged into that entire conversation. I think I had a really good answer for every single point that he brought up. I think I defended every single argument that I brought up with like multiple points. I don't know what do you mean I wasn't plugged into the conversation? I think I was super plugged into the conversation. So I have no idea what you're talking about.
Me off, honestly. Like, I've seen adverts before that have literally said 1 in 4 suicides are women, and then it's like a hotline for like women's like care or something. Think about the statistic that they're using. 1 in 4 suicides are women. So what it actually means is that 3 out of 4, 75%, actually it's closer to about 80% of suicides are men, and they didn't even write about us in this like headline or whatever. Suicides is already, I believe it is the single most common reason for death of like young men in developed countries. It's already very common, and I fear that over the next few years it's going to rise exponentially. Not a little bit more, a little bit more. You've already seen like a bunch of celebrities who have ended up killing themselves. You've seen like people who have overdosed on drugs almost like on purpose. Maybe you've seen it with one of your friends or someone in your school. Like, mark my words, there will be an exponential rise in male suicide.
Holy shit, celebrities overdosing on drugs? That's fucking insane. I've never heard of that happening before. Like musicians and stuff, like doing too many drugs and dying? That's fucking wild.
Point the schools will be shut down because they don't realize what's happening. Every year in a school, maybe 1 pupil kills themselves these days, 1 or 2. Some random year, like probably very soon, there's going to be a school year where 25 young men kill themselves. Just randomly, from the jump of like 2 per year to about 25, because this is how exponential growth works. And that will lead to chaos.
This is okay, dude.
The school will shut down, there'll be an investigation.
And 1 musician who died of an overdose? Where's my boy? Didn't Juice WRLD OD himself or whatever? Doing a bunch of shit.
You'll see this on the news.
Oh, and who's the one guy that Fantano cried listening to? Mac Miller. That guy did it too.
Suddenly, in the space of 2 weeks, 3 celebrities, male that you really love, will kill themselves within the space of a couple of weeks. You'll see this soon, bro. I promise you that chaos and bad, hard times are exponential. I promise you will see this. Because what do they have to live for? What does a man in the modern day even have to live for? If you're in the top 10% of men and you're wealthy, you've got status, you're attractive, you've got a girlfriend, or you've got multiple girls, okay, fair enough, you've got a lot of boxes checked off. But if you're in the bottom 90% of men, you're not even wealthy, so you still have to go to some shit job every single day. You're not even making much money. You can barely even afford your groceries anymore because stuff's so expensive. The energy bill is fucking atrocious. So you're literally hungry and cold. Like, literally, bro. The modern man is hungry, cold, and lonely. What do they have to live for? They're not gonna have families. The hope that a lot of guys do have, maybe these girls will turn around. Maybe she'll realize that this is the dynamic of the little friend zone, little beta male who sees the girl keep getting fucked over by the chads, by the alphas, and eventually he hopes that she'll eventually, change her life around and realize that those jock arsehole type of guys, those alpha high testosterone type of guys are like not the right thing, and she'll eventually choose a real man like him. Well, that's gonna happen 5-10 years after she's enjoyed those bad boys. Just around half of women who get married openly admit that the best sex of their life was not their husband. Is that gonna be you, bro? 49% of women who get...
Is that true? Women poll best sex life husband. Here is a poll that says 52% of women said that their sex life was better, but this was before they had kids. But I'm assuming that means like within the context of that relationship too. Bruh, you're not getting a lot of matches on Tinder unless they know you. Stop the cap. Ego got you thinking you look above average. No, red pillars just have you thinking that unless you're like a 6'2" Chad alpha cock, that no woman is ever going to want you. The reality is that you probably have nasty fucking patchy facial hair. You probably are trying to grow your hair out as a man, but you don't know how to take care of it, and you won't find like an outfit that looks decent on you and fits you. And then you walk around wondering why everybody says you're a 3 out of 10, and then you blame jeans when it's actually just your jeans. Like, get the fuck out of here, dude. Like 99% of human beings can look like 6 or 7 out of 10, no problem, with just like a little bit of basic work. Like clean your face up, get a haircut, get some clothes that fit, you'll be okay. Maybe just show your Tinder profile. I don't use Tinder, bro. I haven't used Tinder since I got to Miami. I use that shit in LA. It's been like over a year for me now. Rare Destiny L, to be honest. If you think what I just said was an L, then just be a fucking incel your whole life, dude. Whatever you want. I mean, knock yourself out. I don't give a fuck. Listen, if you want to do the road where your life is over and you're a black pill or whatever, then knock yourself out, dude. Go be a fucking depressed fucking loser. There's just more pussy for the rest of us. I don't give a fuck. That's on you, my dude. I'm not here to do the fucking self-improvement to the hyper self-victimizing, whiny fucking men bullshit. I don't give a fuck about that. That's not my lane. I would kill myself if I had to babysit you depressive fucking losers all the time that want to blame everything in life but yourself. This is not the kind of person I am. Wow, Raptor, thanks for that $49.99 again. Even this I'm reading this today.com. Even this is not linking any of their actual sources. And then all the other sex things have to do with, like, I think these come from like religious orgs. I found stunning research shows sex is better in marriage, sex is better among religious or spiritual couples, sex is not better if you live together. All right, well.
The best sex of their life was not their husband. Is that going to be you, bro? 49% of women.
I'm just trying to seek actual advice, what I need to do to improve myself, that's all. I agree with Destiny that too many people deflect their own flaws. The number one, here are like the top 3 appearance related things, top 3 or 4 appearance related things that I see with people, that if you can fix these things, like fix these things. Number 1 is, and don't take this personally, and if you don't care, you don't have to care. This isn't targeting anybody or whatever, but if you have patchy facial hair, shave it. Don't grow it, just shave it. If you have patchy facial hair, just shave it. Just shave it. Done. Number 1. That's number 1. Just done. Just shave it. Number 2 is hair. If you're going to grow your hair out, learn to take care of it and make it look beautiful and elegant. Otherwise, you'll just look like a software dev. Okay. Get a decent haircut. If you've got dandruff, get a fucking anti-dandruff shampoo, whatever the fuck you have to do. If you have like crazy balding problems or whatever, just shave your head. Just fucking shave it and learn how to rock a shaved head, okay? No weird comb over shit when you're like 28, 29 years old. Coming from Greasy Hair McGee. So I'm not in here crying about not being able to fuck women, McAfee. If I was, then I would be in here like doing these things. Also, my facial hair is not patchy. My hair is not greasy. I don't know if you don't know what it looks like because maybe you yourself never fucking shower, but try it sometime. Hop in one. You'll be surprised. What do you mean by take care of it, bro? You're going to have to elaborate. What do you mean by take care of your hair? I always shampoo and condition my hair. Well, I don't right now because I have to do a whole bunch of weird shit to maintain my fucking color. But like, shampoo and condition your hair. I think that's really important. When I step into a shower, dude, guys that have like a 5-in-1 body wash, fuck that shit, okay? Fuck that shit, okay? Don't do that shit, okay? get a nice shampoo that cleans your hair, and then get a nice conditioner. It should feel soft and nice to run your fingers through. Also, when you condition it, it combs nicer and it looks nicer afterwards as well, okay? So listen, okay? Shampoo and conditioner, okay? And then get like a haircut that like fits your head. I don't know, don't look fucking wild. Find a nice barber and get like a decent haircut, I guess. Hair is like one of the few things that you have like so much control over. Or if you're balding, just shave it, okay? 1, 2, 3. What was the third one? Oh, probably some type of like clothes that fit. If your clothes are like way too big or baggy, it looks garbage. Get like, I don't know, a nice pair of fucking pants. Go to Male Fashion Advice and look that shit up if you need to. But like find something that fits and doesn't make you look like an insane slob if you're like having problems. Like I think most people could become like 6.5 to 7 out of 10. Most people can do it. Absolutely can. Just you just have to put in like a little bit of effort. And then like shower and stuff, okay? I spent the last 20 years buzzing my hair with a cheap set of Barracks clippers. Only just started growing it back because my wife wanted to know what it looks like. It is an absolute pain. Nice. Do you think the guy in the video looks good enough? This guy? Yeah, I think this guy looks really good. Yeah.
Women who get married openly admit that the best sex of their life is not their husband. Imagine getting married and she has a different guy in her mind when she thinks of like the best, most hot.
Would you say gym is a good thing to start? If you want to, but most women don't give a fuck. That's some shit that men do for other men. Men that obsess over their bodies to look as good as they can, they do that so that their bros will look at how hot their fucking bod is, because they're fantasizing about their bros slapping their BBCs and their WBCs on them all day long, okay? Most women don't give a fuck. Most women don't know what the fuck a deltoid is or what the fuck a trap is or give a fuck about how much you can bench. Like, most women just don't care. If you look decent, like, some women will care. And if you're really overweight or super fat, then obviously, like, if you're obese, that's something you know you need to work on. I'm not even going to bother saying that, of course. If you look obese, then do something about it. Like, start a fucking diet or that's a whole other thing, though. But if you're just like a relatively normal looking in shape guy and you're not getting any women, you're not getting 0 women because you're not shredded. That's just not true. If you think it is, you're just wrong.
Sex that she's ever had in her life. Around 60%.
Why is Destiny coping so much today? Go talk to like any woman ever, okay? Like, guys get nice cars and obsess over them, and the only people that care about this are other guys. That's just a fact. Guys that obsess over themselves at the gym do it, and the only people that care are other guys. That's a fact. Like, these are just facts. Some women like nice cars because they think it means you have money. Some women do really like the look of like shredded or ripped guys, but it's not ubiquitous. And you not being shredded or ripped is never going to be the reason why no woman is interested in you. Full fucking stop.
Sense of married women literally say that they would rather nap and read a book instead of having sex with their husband. I mean, this is obviously accounting for, like, you know, older couples, because what's happening is that these women, you know, they get to freely enjoy sex, so they sleep with the chads, the higher testosterone, the guys who choke them and slap them and spit in their mouth. And women, honestly, a lot of women like this stuff. And then eventually she goes through a bunch of guys like this, and, you know, they don't really want to commit. They're too like boisterous and adventurous, and that this type of man is very hard to like kind of like settle down unless she's a very, very
He's
good
citing
woman.
this
But then
New York
once
Post
she's been
article.
through experiences like that, eventually, you know, she gets kind of tired of this cycle of, you know, these guys who just keep fucking her and they don't get into a real relationship. A lot of girls are experiencing this problem right now, and then eventually they meet a real man like you, and they start like praising you, like, yes, he's a real man, he wants a relationship. This is the dynamic that she's enjoyed the alphas, and now she wants to just chill with the beta. An issue which now gets to very controversial stuff, which is quite dangerous for me to say with the risk of my channel, because at this point then, when a woman is older, it is pretty likely to be true that an older woman is not going to be as good of a partner to you.
Destiny is based. Jim is stupid. He's whistleblowing about I never said Jim was stupid. I think working out is fine. I think you can do whatever you want to improve your body. Having a better looking body is going to give you more help than not having a better looking body. But if you're an average weight person, you're not overweight, and you're not getting any girls, the reason is not because of how you look, or it's not because of the shreddedness of your body. Going from no shred to maximum shred is going to make like 0% difference in whether or not you're getting girls or not. Go talk to women. I'm not going to sit here and talk to you about this, because the thing is like all of your opinions about women just come from red pillars. That's it. You go actually talk to women and see what they're like. Bro, the huge diversity of bodies that women are into will blow your fucking mind. It's actually insane, like how many different types of guys like women are into. Like women in general too. Like there's only a niche amount of women that are like, I need a dude who's super shredded or blah 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 blah. Like most people don't give a fuck.
You as a younger woman would be, and there's multiple reasons for this. One is that men very much appreciate beauty and very much value attractiveness in women. Still value attractiveness, but nowhere near as much as men do, and women generally are more
nice. Look, see, he just said there. Now this fucking red pill guy said it. So do you believe me?
Attractive being younger. Generally, like, a woman's attractiveness on average seems to peak at like 22, 23. And for women, it was actually not that case at all. For women, if you imagine like some 30-year-old, she's not going to say like, oh yeah, men are most attractive at 18. She's not going to say that, is she? Women generally was in line with their own age and oftentimes a little bit older, which is the dynamic which we've always seen. Women generally prefer men who are older than them. Men of all ages are most attractive to an 18-year-old woman. The issue then is that if you're this guy that this woman eventually settles down with because you're a real man, but this is years after she's already experienced like the party lifestyle, and maybe she's a victim of the sort of bad nutrition and bad mental health, and everyone's kind of like overweight these days and everything. Chances are, like, she's just on this physical vanity level, she's not going to be as attractive as you potentially could have gotten if you like attracted her first.
Destiny, don't talk to women. People don't know what they want. Just look who women are with. Watch people's actions, not what they say. Sure, but you don't know who everybody is with. And you can find a lot of insanely beautiful women that are with guys that aren't like fucking shredded. Some of them might have money. Some of them might just be really charismatic. But like the problem is, like, you'll go and you'll listen to red pillars. You're like, oh yeah, don't talk to women. They don't tell you what they want. I'll tell you what they want. But they don't know what women want. Most of these red pillars are not in relationships. Like, these guys are just fucking a ton of girls. What the fuck are they going to tell you about finding and getting into a relationship with a woman, right? These guys are just banging. I don't want to use mean words, but they're just like they're like chewing their way through as many women as they can. They're not here to give you advice on like finding or getting a relationship. It's just how to fuck a bunch of girls because they're famous.
Then it's also this more red pill shit of like, if a woman has experienced more relationships and more sex with different guys through her life, then it drastically decreases her ability to be like a good wife and also mother for your children. It drastically increases.
Oh, we've seen all these things.
Her likelihood of cheating on you and also of divorcing you. This is statistics and like real fucking studies that people don't want us to talk about because it's so horrible, it's so toxic, it's so like misogynist and stuff. But on average, her likelihood to cheat on you is increased by 7 to 11% per guy that she has slept with before you. A lot of women, when I looked at this online, and there was like articles and Reddit posts and everything from like years ago, and a lot of women were just saying like, oh no, like, it doesn't matter the guys that I've slept with, I just like having sex. It doesn't even matter, like, I can still be fit. Like, it's not true. It's honestly not true. Every guy that she slept with on average increases her chance to cheat on you by about 10%, and divorce was roughly like 5% per guy. It wasn't about how many times that she had sex. A lot of girls have sort of countered this and said, oh, well, it doesn't really matter because if she slept with 10 guys, but if she just slept with her boyfriend 10 times, it'd be the same thing. No, it's not. Because it's not about quantity of sex. It's about the variety of partners that she's had. If she's hooked up and sort of opened up her body, her heart, and her soul to 10 guys, 20 guys, 30 guys, 40 guys, it quite frankly means that she's unfit for a long-term relationship with the majority.
Okay, it's just like the same like trauma like spewing that I hear from like every red pill. Like all these guys are like got hurt in the past by some woman that dumped them or turned them down. At Destiny, the more women you can pull, the more likely you are to keep one. Is that even true? Destiny gonna be alone soon, XD. What, like you are? What do you think red pillars think the dating market looks like for the average woman? I think a red pillar thinks a woman wakes up. Oh, so she wakes up in the morning and she kind of wants a coffee, but she sees that her bank account is empty. So she snaps a couple pictures of her ass and of her feet. She posts it on her OnlyFans. And then she probably makes about, probably like $700 or $800, in about an hour. Once she makes her $700 or $800, she walks down to the coffee shop. But thank God she didn't actually need to pay for it because she's already matched with every single barista on Tinder there, and all of them give her coffee for free. So she gets her free shit. She walks upstairs. She has class today, but she's fucking one of the nerd guys, barely. more like she lets him watch her fuck a BBC, and then that guy does her classwork for her. So she sits in her room. She doesn't really know what to do. She's already made $700-800. She calls one of her Stacy female friends. She's like, "What do you want to do today?" And her friend's like, "I don't know. I kind of feel like traveling." She's like, "Oh, cool." So she hits up her Instagram DMs and she sees that she's got 17 different Arabic princes that are offering to fly her to different parts of the Middle East. She messages her friend again and she says, "Hey, are you done with your OnlyFans work today?" "Oh, you are? Well, do you want to go to Dubai? Do you want to go to Saudi Arabia? Do you want to go to UAE? Like, I've got offers from all these different dudes." And her friend's like, "I think I want to do Dubai. That would be cool." So her and her friend hop on a plane. It's a first class seat. Normally it would be a private jet, but since it's short term, they didn't have time. Abdul didn't have time to fly it over. They go over, they hang out in Dubai for about a week. They do more OnlyFans content, and then they fly back to the United States. She's probably close to graduating her classes soon. Not only is she letting the nerd in class watch her fuck, she's also fucking the teacher, so she's guaranteed to get really good grades at either end, and that's her life. And this is about like 45 to 50% of American women do this. This is what red pill people think the average like US woman's life is. That's at 23, okay? Now at 30 and 31, it gets a lot scarier, okay? Stacy wakes up in between two massive, throbbing BBCs. She picks up her crack pipe, but it's empty. Her looks have all faded. She checks her OnlyFans account, and she's only making maybe $20 a day now, only from desperate little incels that weren't smart enough to watch red pill content to not simp for women. She crawls out of bed. She looks outside, and she realizes, shit, I've run through all of my looks. As she gets out of bed, she has to reach down and pick up her pussy flaps because they're dragging on the floor, because the more dick you take from different men, it doesn't matter if you take a lot of dick from the same man, but the more dick you take from different men, the lower your labia hang. So she picks them up as she walks over to the window and she looks outside and she's like, fuck. She sees all of the same guys, the nerd that she made watch her fucking school, all of her male classmates that were trying really hard. She sees them walking down the streets. All of them have become successful business owners now. She sees all the Asian guys are wearing nice suits. They're driving their Lambos up and down the street. All the nerdy dudes are now owning their own successful crypto startups. All of them making tons of money. She's probably going to go down later. She's going to try to hit on them and say, "Hey, I know I didn't give you a chance in college because I was too busy riding the cock carousel, but I think you're a really special guy and I want to now." And then those guys are going to shut her down because they realize their own self-worth now, I think. After begging for a while, unfortunately, the two BBCs are going to leave her apartment and they'll shout at her and they'll say, "Hey, you need to go back upstairs. Your children are crying." She probably has 4 or 5 of them by now with at least 3 different fathers, but she's not sure who each of the dads are. Every child is mixed because every red pillar is obsessed with BBC fucking all these women. Yeah, and then she'll probably die of AIDS. That is the a day in the life of Stacy. Why do you think there's been such a rise in red pill communities? In my opinion, I think that I think there's a couple of big things going on. I think that the internet existing has caused us to separate and segregate more and more. And I think that our like loss of local communities has given us like an inability to like relate to and engage with the people around us. And I think that this is driving a lot of loneliness. And those two things are really, really, really complicated problems, and they're really hard to deal with. So it's really easy to like shoehorn in your pet issue into explaining exactly why these things are happening. So for red pillars, it's because of hypergamy and dating apps and whatever. That's like the whole reason why men are lonely. That's an easy explanation. It gives you a really fun villain to fight against. It's the evil feminists. It's women in general. It's blue pillars. It lets you sell content and shove shitty videos down the throats of your audience. But at the end of the day, I don't think it's really helping anybody. It's not making you better. It's not addressing any of the core problems that we are like becoming more and more atomized, more and more segregated in society. But yeah. Could religion unironically be a solution for a lot of these problems? Yeah, I think religion probably helped. I think we got rid of a lot of religious stuff, but we didn't like find good replacements for it. So, yeah, but I mean, what are you gonna do? If you hate all these red pillars and talk about these men's issues more, there needs to be someone to talk about these issues. It's boring because it's all like a bunch of fucking cope. Because like the way that you address a lot of these things, a lot of these guys don't even want to recognize our issues, or they've actually convinced themselves of the opposite of what's true. Like, bro, when I was on that show and people are saying things like, if you ever show emotional vulnerability to a woman even one time, you might lose your relationship. Like, if you think that, you're fucked, bro. Like, there's nothing I can say to help you. You either need to grow up a bit and like learn how life works. You need to talk to some women or actually be in a relationship to learn how women work. But like, if your mind is that fucking poisoned already, nothing I say to you is gonna fucking help you on anything. Like, you're mind fucked at that point.
In a 17-second clip on Twitter, but when it comes to his massively
I don't think I want to do this. Dude, I'm so bored of like the race card shit. It's just boring. And the WL community like playing the race card like all the time. Like, I get it, you're black and that's tragic, I guess, but I don't care that much. It's boring as fuck to me. Honest to God, like some of the exploding like black online communities have been like some of the most homophobic places I've been to, like openly. Like, I feel like I'm back in white communities from 2012. I love that like the transphobia is just like rampant and nobody cares. Transformers, LOL. Like, for me to jump in here and for them to be like, you're racist, like, the fuck out of here with that bullshit. Like, it feels so beneath me to even like jump into that shit. I just super don't give a fuck. And whether XQC here is trying to simp for it because he wants to be in this community or whatever, I also just don't give a fuck. He had no problem going in on Greek when Greek is racist or whatever, but he wants to do this like, I need more context. I don't care. I super don't give a fuck. The red pill PUA stuff is the same as what you were saying about the gym and cars. It's specifically to impress other men, even though they claim it's late. I don't mind, especially in retrospect, I don't mind the PUA stuff as much now. Like, because at least the pickup artist stuff taught that like if you learn a specific set of skills, if you learn how to be a good conversationalist, if you learn how to talk to people in an appropriate manner, that you can like get results. I'm actually more okay with that than this new age red pill like hypergamy Stacy riding the BBC carousel shit. It's way different.